I, Dr. Jaimini Vyas, would like to welcome all the participants for the last time on this last day of our 10 days online faculty development program on accountancy and commerce. Today, I would like to take an opportunity to introduce my own organization, that is Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat. Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat envies to generate and provide ideas and paradigms for achieving excellence in education, educational management and policy, framing for education in general and higher education. Before proceeding further, let me take you to have a visit at our campus. And before proceeding further, I would like to take you to the visit of Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat initiative as well as its campus. Thank you.
Not a single Indian institute of higher education figures in the top 200 universities of the world. There is quite a crisis in higher education in India that runs deep. If these are any indicators of the state of our education system, then isn't it time to wake up and realize the gravity of the situation? And unless we take concrete steps to reform our education systems, our nation will be home to the largest unproductive manpower in the world by 2020. Taking on the challenge to evolve a holistic approach towards educational reforms, one state in the western part of India conceptualized a path-breaking approach where the entire system was brought under one umbrella organization. To connect, to facilitate, to collaborate, to promote, and to change the mindsets, methodologies, and infrastructure. An organization that would not only generate and provide ideas and paradigms for excellence in education, but also provide the necessary educational management and policy frame, setting a benchmark for other states to replicate. The Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, revolutionizing education through reforms. Established in 2009 by the Education Department, Government of Gujarat, the Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat has been instrumental in fueling an educational revolution in Gujarat by implementing initiatives on a mission mode. For the first time in India, KCG came up with the idea of preparing a detailed educational map of Gujarat using GIS mapping, dividing the entire educational infrastructure of the state into clusters, higher education districts, and zones. The introduction of choice-based credit system. CBCS has enabled both students and teachers to think out of the box, at the same time offering flexibility to the students in choice and duration of courses, institutions, and even the convenience of appearing for examinations through cross-registration and the multiversity experience. No more of chalk and talk theory. The active learning methodology introduced by KCG motivates the students to move away from being passive listeners to active learners. The introduction of Sandhan program has converted the entire state into a virtual classroom, with students benefiting from live interactive programs by renowned academicians using satellite technology. No more monotonous studying now. Saptadhara and Saptara, unique initiatives, allow the students to realize their highest aspirations of life. Further improving the employability level of the students is Udisha, a program that empowers students with generic and specific skills while promoting industry interaction for placements through Udisha clubs established in colleges across the state. In addition to students-oriented initiatives, KCG also focuses on promoting a culture of research. Major programs for training and capacity building of principals, faculty, librarians, and academic support staff were undertaken to strengthen their capabilities further. empowering them to deal with the challenges of a dynamically evolving education system. The teaching fraternity has access to over 83,000 e-books and 5,000 e-journals through InflibNet. A yearly audit system, the Academic and Administrative Audit, AAA, ensures the scientific examining of systems and processes. Enabling KCG to deliver its objectives efficiently and productively is its world-class campus at Ahmedabad. The fully equipped campus comprises of an administration block where the think tank of KCG operates from, the state-of-the-art exhibition hall, a multi-purpose auditorium block for various academic activities, a classroom block with 9 fully equipped classrooms, including themed classes, a faculty block, studio apartments for visiting scholars, a well-stocked library, open-air theatre, hostel for scholars, which is underway. The well-designed and centrally air-conditioned campus offers the perfect environment and spaces for academic deliberations and pursuits. KCG played a major role in the recently concluded Vibrant Summit 2013 and at ICAI 2013, where more than 1,600 strategic partnership MOUs were signed between industries and academic institutions, making it a historical moment. CBCS, Santhan, Udisha, KMP, Saptatara. The list of initiatives by KCG are endless. This revolution in Gujarat has been a community-driven process involving students, faculty members, and vice-chancellors of universities and the industry. It's only a matter of time that the strength of its vision and speed of execution will place our institutes on the world education map. A global platform, a knowledge network, a resource center, a trading arena. The Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, from reformation to revolution.
This was a journey to our Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat. Over and above the initiatives which have been mentioned in the video, KCG also deals with various other initiatives such as Mukhyamantri Yuva Swalamban Yojana, Chief Minister Scholarship Scheme, Interest Subsidy Scheme on Education Loan, Namo E-Tablet, Namo Wi-Fi, AISHE, Rusha, Finishing School, FDP, Research and Innovation, e-journals, Student Startup and Innovation Policy, and Shodh. Now, before proceeding further, I would like to introduce the coordinator of this online faculty development program on accountancy and commerce. I would like to welcome Dr. Jayendra C. Jadhav. He is a faculty at Gujarat Commerce College and a coordinator of faculty development program. He is also a member of Task Force NEP of Government of Gujarat. Thank you, sir. I would like to request Dr. Jayendra Jadhav to introduce our chief guest and give a brief report of the program. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar to all of you. Our today's chief guest, Professor Pankaj Mittal Madam, our Honorable Advisor, Professor A.U. Patel Sir, Officer on Special Duty, Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, Professor P.R. Patel Sir, and all dear participants. From last 9 days, we are with this faculty development program. Friends, हमें आज जिनका सानिध्य प्राप्त हुआ है वो प्रोफेसर पंकज मित्तल मैडम है। वो शिक्षा जगत में बहुत जाने माने गणमान्य व्यक्तियों में उनकी गणना होती है, तो मैं आप सभी को उनका परिचय करवाता हूँ। प्रोफेसर पंकज मित्तल, right now she is a Secretary General of All Association of Indian Universities, which is known as AIU. She is the second woman Secretary General of the association in its 95 years of existence. Prior to joining Association of Indian Universities, she has been serving the higher education sector, especially university education, for over 3 decades. So we can say that she is having an experience of 30 years in higher education. Right? She has served with UGC as well, which is a apex regulator of higher education. Madam is a Fulbright scholar. She has been a topper in MSc and PhD in agricultural statistics from IARI New Delhi. As I told you earlier, she has a wide-ranging experience of over 3 decades in higher education, in policy planning and management of higher education. Prior to this, she has served as a first regular Vice Chancellor of Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya Kanpur, the first rural women university of North India in 2008. She is also, she has visited so many countries, right? If we give her introduction, then we require more time. But right now, we want to listen to her, right, about national education policy. आप उनको सुनेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा कि उन्होंने फील्ड में कितना काम किया है. वो कन्या गुरुकुल और वुमेन एजुकेशन के लिए उनका बहुत काम रहा है. उनके कारण वुमेन एजुकेशन में बहुत सारा परिवर्तन हुआ है और उनके लिए उनको बहुत सारे अवार्ड्स भी मिले हैं. उनमें उनको राष्ट्रपति अवार्ड से भी सम्मानित किया गया है. मैडम, हम बहुत गर्व की अनुभूति करते हैं कि वुमेन एजुकेशन में आपने इतना सारा काम किया है और एक ऐसी व्यक्ति हमारे पास आज उपस्थित है हमारे साथ कि जिन्होंने प्रेसिडेंट के हाथों से जिनको सम्मानित किया गया है. और नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में फ्रेंड्स, मैं कई लोगों को सुन चुका हूं, लेकिन प्रोफेसर पंकज मित्तल जी को जितनी क्लैरिटी है उतनी क्लैरिटी मैंने किसी के पास नहीं देखी है. उनका सब्जेक्ट का बहुत डीप स्टडी रहा है और उन्होंने फील्ड में खुद स्वयं काम किया है, इसलिए उनका गहरा, इनका विस्तृत अनुभव, विशाल अनुभव और गहरा चिंतन हमको नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी और भारत की शिक्षा के बारे में बहुत नई सारी चीजें सिखाता है. मैडम, आई वेलकम यू ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ नॉलेज कंसोर्शियम ऑफ गुजरात, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ गुजरात. राइट, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ ऑल द पार्टिसिपेंट्स आई वेलकम यू मैडम. राइट, नाउ I want to give an introduction of our honorable advisor, sir. Our honorable advisor of Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, Professor A.U. Patel, sir, is with us. Sir is also having an experience of 4 decades in higher education. He was a professor at a very renowned College of Ahmedabad, LD Arts College, and he has served as a Vice Chancellor of our Gujarat University as well. Right, sir, I welcome you in this faculty development program. Madam, sir is a key source and driving force behind all the activities of Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat. Sir, I welcome you in this faculty development program. We have 79 participants from 36 different colleges of Gujarat, which covers 25 districts of Gujarat out of 33 districts. So, हम कह सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे गुजरात के बहुत सारे जिले के 25 जिले के फैकल्टी मेंबर्स हमारे साथ आज जुड़े हुए हैं. मैडम, टोटल वी हैव इनवाइटेड 20 रिसोर्स पर्सन ड्यूरिंग दिस फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम. Across India, we have invited faculty development in this faculty development program because it was online. This was a first experiment, right, of online faculty development program by KCG. Due to this pandemic, we are meeting virtually online. Madam, we have invited faculties from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, from Delhi University, from Mumbai University, and different state universities like Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and of course, of Gujarat. We have arranged sessions on emerging areas in accounting and commerce, emerging areas in finance, emerging areas in marketing, like target costing, international accounting, GST, e-marketing, and so on. With the core subjects, we had sessions on how to develop MOOC courses. How can we integrate technology in our teaching learning? We have also covered some pedagogy related sessions, which includes balance sheet analysis, how to develop good case studies, and how can we do effective online teaching and learning. To integrate our subjects, with indigenous knowledge system. We had also a session on stress management lessons from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which was very innovative. In fact, we had a session on management lessons from Ramayana and management lessons from Indian scriptures as well. We had a session on innovation and creativity, and we had also a session on SSIP as well. So from last 9 years, last 9 days, our faculty members have joined this program and they are enjoying this program. It was totally interactive program, not one-way program. Today also you will see that, you will experience that our faculty members are very enthusiastic in this manner. मुझे अभी इस फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम के अंत करते समय मैं सभी का आभारी हूं। सबसे पहले मैं हमारे सीईओ श्री नागराजन सर का मैं बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, वो इज आईएएस एंड कमिश्नर ऑफ हायर एजुकेशन, जिन्होंने हमें अपॉर्चुनिटी दी और हम ये प्रोग्राम को ऑर्गेनाइज कर सके। हमारे ऑनरेबल एडवाइजर सर ने भी हमें जहां जहां जरूरत पड़ी वहां पे सभी फैकल्टीज को अरेंज करने में और हमारा मार्गदर्शन किया है, उनका भी मैं बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ। हमारे प्रोफेसर पीआर पटेल सर का भी मैं बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ, उनका भी बड़ा योगदान यहाँ पे रहा है। तो जैसे सुमित्रा नंदन पंत जी ने कहा था कि बीज तो हमने बोए हैं, अब बादल का काम बादल जाने और धरातल को धरा, वैसे यहाँ पे हमने भी ये 9 दिनों में बीज बोए हैं। अब सभी फैकल्टी मेंबर को, जैसे नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में कहा गया है कि वी हैव अ ड्रीम ऑफ मोटिवेटेड, एनर्जाइज एंड कैपेबल फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, बस यही ड्रीम से हमने फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम किया है और मुझे आशा है कि इस फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम से हमारे सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स को बहुत बड़ा लाभ हुआ है। अगेन गुजरात सरकार के द्वारा, हमारे डिपार्टमेंट के द्वारा मैडम का मैं बहुत बहुत स्वागत करके अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूँ। भारत माता की जय। नमस्कार।
Moving towards our program, now we would like to take feedback of certain participants. For taking the feedback, first of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Ajan Vaidya, who is an associate professor at Government Commerce College, Billard. Yes, sir. Can you please give your feedback?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity of giving the feedback on this wonderful FDP that we have organized. Respected Chief Guest Dr. Pankaj Mittal, respected Guest of Honor Professor Simrat Kaur, Honorable Shri U. Patel sir, our CEO Nagarajan sir, PR Patel sir, and respected Dr. Jadhav sir. Thank you so much for having me, for giving the feedback on this particular session. I would like to briefly narrate a small story which I would like to relate with this FDP. Japanese people, the Japanese have always loved fresh fish, but the waters close to Japan were out of the fish. And so they felt that, Japan, to feed the Japanese population, they should go outer of the limits, and they should have bigger boats. So they solved this problem for a small period of time. But new problems arose. The further they went, the more it took for them to bring back the fish, and the fish in the process became stale. So they found another temporary solution to this process, and they installed freezers on the ships. But did not last long for two major reasons. One is high cost, and another one is customers still didn't enjoy the frozen food. So after a brainstorming session, they found a new solution, that is installing a fish tank. So they installed fish tanks in the boats, and the fish did stay live and fresh. But unfortunately, during after a while, the fish became sluggish, and the taste of the fish changed, and it did not fetch enough value in the market. So a young fisherman finally one day gave a great solution to this problem, which changed the Japanese fishing industry forever. The solution was simple. They put a small shark in the fish tank. Because of this shark, nothing great happened, but because of this shark, all the fishes in the fish tank kept running. And because they kept running, they were physically fit, and they remained fresh and remain alive. So this entire FDP, I would like to say, was like that small little shark in our academic career, which actually energized us psychologically, and especially from the contemporary topics viewpoint in the area of commerce and accountancy. We are indeed grateful that we are now energized with new area, and the new areas have opened for our further takeaways. The sessions were beautifully designed, keeping in mind the neo aspect of the subject. And special thanks to Jadhav sir and entire KCG team for bringing in resource persons that were not only academically brilliant, but also, they were sound in the field work. They were brilliant as far as their field experience was concerned, and which actually helped us a lot. To summarize about some of the extraordinary sessions in just few minutes is actually a Herculean task. And for us faculties who are, usually habitual of speaking for hours and hours, so it is, it is really tough. But a few of the sessions which I really loved and enjoyed, and some of the sessions were really close to my heart. One being delivered by my ex-colleague, Dr. Ketan sir, on the area of economics and its impact, and COVID-19's impact on modern economics. And another one being by Dr. S.S. Shah sir, who was my college professor. It was an opportunity to hear both of them after a long time, of almost after a decade. Suchak sir session on stress management, which he made special through his finesse of Sanskrit and Sanskrit pronunciations especially, and he lifted it to another level by his sheer essence of Bhagavad Gita and its relevance of the management. So it was a wonderful session by Suchak sir. Another memorable session was by Dr. Unnat Pandit sir. He was a non-commerce resource person, and to energize the commerce and accountancy faculties with reference to creativity, and especially with reference to Atal Innovation Mission, was, I think, one of the finest of the sessions. And some of his practical takeaways, like relating by reference, giving a reference of one of the studies done by one of the students in IITs, which is actually based on Nadi science, and which actually reflects the which actually gives an accurate measures of human hygiene and health, which is a must for every people these days in times of corona. It was an innovative session, and it actually refreshed our minds like anything. And to end my speech, discussions on designing MOOC and online courses, and also development of case studies, which are really important for our academic career as well as our academically commercial career. They were mind openers, and which are very important in these times of technology based education. I think, like me, almost everyone thoroughly enjoyed all the sessions. They were really interactive, and they were based largely on the emerging areas of commerce and accountancy. To end my session, I would just like to narrate one small slok from Rigved. Ano Bhadraha Kratvo Yantu Vishwatah, which says, let we be blessed by noble thoughts from entire universe. And this FDP has done that very precisely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity, and I am humbled to be a participant of this FDP. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a great words. Now I would like to ask Dr. Hasmukh Ghelani, sir, who is a principal at Government Commerce College, Jamnagar, to give certain feedback on faculty development program.
अकाउंटेंसी एवं कॉमर्स के ऑफलाइन एफडीपी समापन समारोह में आज उपस्थित चीफ गेस्ट प्रोफेसर पंकज मित्तल मैडम, गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर प्रोफेसर सिमरित कौर, सीओ नागराजन सर, केसीजी एडवाइजर डॉक्टर एयू पटेल सर एवं प्रवीण पटेल सर एवं जादव सर एवं सब पार्टिसिपेंट, मेरी जानकारी के मुताबिक और अभी जादव सर ने भी बताया कि ये केसीजी का पहला ऑनलाइन फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम है, और ये ऑनलाइन फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है हुआ, क्योंकि मैं अपनी बात करूं तो मैं खुद एक कॉलेज में प्रिंसिपल हूं, तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव वर्क ज्यादा रहने की वजह से, वैसे मैं पहला अध्यापक हूं, तो अध्यापक के होने के बावजूद मेरे लिए एफडीपी जरूरी है। लेकिन ये ऑनलाइन कोर्स होने की वजह से प्राध्यापक होने के बावजूद, प्रिंसिपल होने के बावजूद मैं ये फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम ज्वाइन कर पाया, क्योंकि ये ऑनलाइन था। एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव वर्क ज्यादा रहने के, अगर ये फिजिकली होता तो मैं नहीं आ पाता। लेकिन मैं और मेरे 3 अध्यापक, कुल हमारे एक कॉलेज के 4 अध्यापक इस फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट का आनंद ले रहे हैं, ज्ञान का आनंद उठा रहे हैं। उसकी वजह ये ऑनलाइन फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम है। यहाँ फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम में हमारे ज्ञान की वृद्धि के लिए कई विशेषज्ञों को बुलाया, कई एक्सपर्ट को बुलाया गया, और सभी एक्सपर्ट अभी आगे रिव्यू में बताया, तो सभी एक्सपर्ट जो है, और ये जादव सर ने इतना ख्याल रखा कि सारे एरिया को कवर कर लिया। उदाहरण के तौर पर मैं बताऊं तो रिसर्च, कॉमर्स, अकाउंटिंग, इकोनॉमिक्स, फिनांस, क्रिएटिविटी एंड इनोवेशन, और आज न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, रोल ऑफ टीचर इन कॉलेज, हाउ टू क्रिएट मूक कोर्स आदि टॉपिक को कवर कर लिया। यानी कुछ बाकी नहीं बचा अब जो कॉमर्स के लिए जो जानना है। साथ साथ स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट विद भगवत गीता के जरिए कैसे प्रयत्न, वो तो अद्भुत सेशन रहा। सूचक सर ने जो बताया वो सभी सेशन अच्छे रहे। अभी जो जीएसटी का सेशन रहा था उसमें इंस्टेंट जो उसका जो क्विज का आयोजन किया था वो भी बहुत बढ़िया रहा, और सर ने सही बताया कि ये 2 वे सेशन रहा। अगर हम वहीं पे जाते फिजिकली तो कभी कभी नींद आ जाती थी, लेकिन इसमें नींद आई ही नहीं थी, क्योंकि एक्सपर्ट ही ऐसे थे कि सोने ही नहीं देते थे। तो ये सब कुल मिलाकर ऐसा कह सकते कि ज्ञान का यज्ञ बना। यज्ञ तो हम सभी तरह कहते हैं, लेकिन ये ज्ञान का यज्ञ बना हमारे लिए, ऐसा कहिए तो कुछ गलत नहीं कह रहा हुए कह सकाए। और इस फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम सफल बनाने के लिए केसीजी की पूरी टीम ने जो मेहनत की है वो बहुत अद्भुत है, और इस मेहनत की वजह से हम प्रतियोगी ये सभी लोग जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स है वो ये आनंद ले रहे हैं। तो सभी पार्टिसिपेंट की ओर से मैं आपका धन्यवाद करता हूँ। और मुख्य रूप से जो डॉक्टर जादव सर है उसने जो पार्टिसिपेंट और जो एक्सपर्ट आते थे उनके बीच ब्रिज का काम किया। अब ये भी सर ने बताया कि हम कुल जो अलग अलग यूनिवर्सिटी से उसने जो एक्सपर्ट को इन्वाइट किया, तो उसके साथ कम्युनिकेशन करना वो बहुत मुश्किल बाबत है, लेकिन ये सब जादव सर ने किया। इसके लिए उनको जो पोस्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर है इसको भी धन्यवाद हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट की ओर से देता हूँ। और इन फ्यूचर में जो केसी के ये पहला एफडीपी प्रोग्राम है, मैं केसी जी से एयू पटेल सर से भी रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि फ्यूचर में भी ऐसे एफडीपी प्रोग्राम जारी रखिए। अगर फिजिकली भी अगर मिल गई छूट तो भी ऑनलाइन फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम जारी रखना, ताकि हम जैसे जो प्रिंसिपल है जो हम लाभ नहीं ले सकते पूर्ण तरह, तो इस प्रोग्राम के जरिए हम ये हमारा नॉलेज भी बढ़ा रहे। प्रिंसिपल तो है ही, पर प्रिंसिपल से पहले हम प्राध्यापक है, तो हमारे पास कॉमर्स का नॉलेज होना भी बहुत जरूरी है। इसलिए तो सभी पार्टिसिपेंट की ओर से मैं केसीजी की पूरी टीम को धन्यवाद करता हूँ, और जो एक्सपर्ट हमारे पास आए उन्होंने हमको नॉलेज दिया उसको भी धन्यवाद करता हूँ। ये ऐसे प्रोग्राम फ्यूचर में भी बने रहे और आयोजन होता रहे, ऐसी शुभकामना करते मैं अपना वक्तव्य पूरा करता हूँ। थैंक यू। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you, Hasmukh, for your words. Now I would like to request Ms. Hetal Solanki. She is an assistant professor at Government Arts and Commerce College, Kadoli, to give her feedback on our faculty development program. Hetal ma'am.
Namaskar. Myself, Professor Hetal Solanki, professor in the field of accountancy and commerce from Government Arts and Commerce College, Kadoli. I would like to convey my warm regards to Dr. Pankaj Mittal Madam, Professor Simrat Kaur Madam, Nagarajan Sir, Professor A.U. Patel Sir, Praveen Patel Sir, coordinator of this FDP Jadhav Sir, and all the fellow faculty members. First of all, happy World Accountancy Day to all the members who can connect the numbers to generate wealth. First of all, I would like to convey my gratitude to KCG for organizing such an informative, impactful, and wholesome faculty development program, and to experts for enlightening us by your valuable knowledge and expertise. Topics of the FDP covered all the areas which helped to polish an academician and help them to be equipped to conquer all the issues faced within the classroom, nearby vicinities, and entire economy as well of the India. Topics like in the field of research, creation, innovation tried to cover the need of a teacher as an academician and researcher. Issues faced by economy due to pandemic, post-pandemic need we need to face, and the tools to overcome all the issues that have been included as a topic of this faculty. Emerging trends in the field of commerce, consumer preferences, latest business sentiments, and the nearest solutions that if we face any kind of issue in the field of business, in the field of commerce, how can we overcome and get the nearest solution that also has been discussed in the FDP. So it is also a very good topic that has been addressed by the faculty members and the team of the experts. The topics like artificial intelligence, forensic accounting, GST financial instruments, and the topics of connecting indigenous knowledge and the latest technology can be horizon for the exploration in the field of accountancy field for the future professors, academicians, as well as researchers, and which can be a good source of generation of business for the new entrepreneurs as well. Concluding last, but I can say there was a feather on the cap. And feather on the cap, I can say the topic on the stress management and connecting this with the spirituality, and today's topic, the new era of the education policy that is going to be discussed today, were the topic that we can consider as a feather on the cap of this FDP. No, not an academician, as per my view, can be explored in their personal field or professional field without considering spirituality as a concept and without copying themselves with the latest emerging trends of the educations. Concluding all, I can say this FDP has covered all the areas in which we as an academician serve stakeholders, like a teacher, like a researcher, like an innovator, a strength who can generate entrepreneurs, and those entrepreneurs who can generate sustainable employment and leads to a sustainable world. I again request all the experts to bless us by providing your guidance in future also, and would request KCG to enlighten us by arranging such wholesome, knowledgeable program in future also. At last, I again thank you, team of KCG, Dr. Praveen Patel sir, Jayendra Jadhav sir, for providing me opportunity to give the feedback on such an informative, impactful, and knowledgeable FDP. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Hetal ma'am. Moving further to the last feedback, now I would request Dr. Mukesh Bavalia sir, who is an assistant professor at Government Commerce College, Rapur, Kutch. Mukesh sir.
Yes. Thank you, madam. Welcome to all my respected dignity on online FDP, Professor Senvit Kaur, Principal, Sri Ram College, and also respected Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Madam, Secretary of AIU, and also our respected AU Patel, Sir, the advisor of the KCG, and also Pierre Patel and Dr. Jayendra, Sir. We organized FDP, and we are very happy for that. We organize for government and other faculty, because there are many webinar, seminars, and conference are organized by many institutes in pandemic. But there are many questions in our commerce and accountancy, how to make a class fruitful and energetic in the class attention, how to use technology in our online class, how to motivate the student in our class, how to create a good moral of the students on online basis, and how to solve the issue of the rural and urban area for the students. So these are the many questions in our faculty members. And I feel that after reading these questions, what are the problems are in our minds? They are solved by this FDP, because I classify these FDP in a three criteria. First was teaching attitude in our accounting and commerce. So there are many topic was very modern, like AI, forensic accounting, target costings, balance sheet analysis, GST. There are many topics are covered under our in this topic. They are interested in how to how to create interest in students by giving some examples. This was the main strategy by our Dr. Parak sir and our SSO Sir sir. Then different concept commerce. There are our VC sir, Jairaj Jadeja also cover the customer behaviors by giving many practical examples, and modern management in marketing. What are the modern areas are covered by the our Dr. Bharti madam, and there are many issues in financial world. It means Vaniki madam also covered financial management, and there are many practical problem has solved by the our topic. And rural questions and urban questions are same. These are the stress management. And NV Suchak sir has given a very good strategy for how to solve the problems of the counseling, how to counsel by ourselves also, and how to counsel the student also. How can we provide a counseling? Because right now the students required counseling for the online basis, because they are not facing ourselves. Classroom teaching and online teaching both are different feelings. We are also feeling different, student are feeling also different. So how to match the students and ourselves. And last point is to modern and emerging issues in our online basis, the MOOC, case studies, technologies, and economic pandemics. These are the main area. These are covered by this FDP. तो मैं इतना ही बोलूंगा कि जो भी हमने अभी तक पढ़ा सुना, उस सबका सॉल्यूशंस जो है अभी हमको ये एफडीपी में मिल चुका है. तो मैं जयेंद्र सर को, एयू पटेल सर को और पूरी टेक्निकल टीम को ये बोलूंगा कि हमारा जो अभी आपके और हमारे बीच में जो मीडियम है वो है टेक्निकल टीम, राइट? तो वी एफडीपी इज प्रोवाइडिंग अ टेक्निकल इश्यू आल्सो कि हाउ टू सॉल्व द टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम्स इन आवर टीचिंग लर्निंग इश्यूज. So very thankful to KCG and our technical team, Jayendra sir and FDP and our Nagarajan sir. Very thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words means a lot to us. Moving further towards our valedictory program. Now I would like to take the privilege to welcome our today's chief guest, Professor Dr. Pankaj Mittal madam. I am very much pleased on behalf of KCG to have you at this faculty development program. I heartily welcome you, ma'am. Thank you for sparing your time and being with us. I request you to continue with this program.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And thank you, Dr. Jayendra Singh, not only for inviting me here, but also for holding such a big program, 9 days program. And I have heard the feedback from the participants. Everybody seems to be so happy with the program that you have organized it so well, and almost all the topics you have covered, which are contemporary topics, because these are the topics which the faculty of today should be learning: how to use the technology, how to make the open education resource, how to make the MOOCs program, how to even make MOOCs for SWAYAM. So these are something which are very, very important topics, and thanks for including all those topics. So it's good that you have included all those topics. Now, coming to my valedictory session, Dr. Jayendra requested me that I should be speaking on the NEP, that what is NEP. So today there are two types of issues. What is included in the NEP, and second is how to implement NEP. So when I talk to the vice chancellors and all, I normally talk about how to implement NEP, because there's a lot of awareness already about what is NEP and what are the various provisions of NEP. But when I speak to the faculty members, I normally speak upon what is NEP, what are the issues contained in NEP, how is NEP beneficial to our higher education system, and why was this NEP required after so many years, and why were we waiting for it for such a long time. So when we talk about this NEP, you know that it has come after 34 years. Many people also say that it has come after 185 years of those famous Macaulay minutes, or rather infamous Macaulay minutes, in which the our language was sort of, English was given a lot of importance and the Hindi was being sort of given lesser importance. But today in this policy, the Hindi and the local language, the mother tongue, has been given a lot of importance. So this is a policy which is a forward-looking, innovative, student-centric policy and a democratic policy. Why democratic? Because when this policy was being formulated, something like 2.5 lakh people were consulted before writing the policy. And minded, these people were not only the teachers, they were also the common man, because higher education affects every field. So even a common man, from Sarpanch till the highest level, everybody was consulted in devising this policy. Therefore, we call it a democratic policy. And then some of the implementation, especially at the government level, which was to be done, especially like the change of the name of Ministry of Human Resource Development to Ministry of Education, that was done within 1 month of the issue of the policy. So the government is acting so fast. And you must have seen that the Honorable Prime Minister himself has spoken about the policy on 3 occasions. So normally this does not happen, that the Honorable Prime Minister himself talks about the national education policy. But he himself is talking, and he is urging upon all the vice chancellors, all the HEIs, all the faculty members to implement the policy in letter and spirit. So you can know that the type of importance which is being attached to this policy. Similarly, when the policy, although this has been said since the Kothari Commission in 1964, that 6% of the GDP should be invested on education. I never say the word spent. It should be invested on education, because whatever you spend on higher education or education, it is an investment. So 6% of GDP should be invested on education, and that has been reiterated in this policy. And I really feel that the government is committed to spending 6% of budget on 6% of GDP on education, which will be real good investment. I mean, if you really want to invest for lifetime, you should invest on education. Now, what is there in policies? We'll start from various, I mean, at top level, what is there in the restructuring of higher education system. Then we'll talk about restructuring of institutions, how the institutions will be restructured. Then we'll come to restructuring of programs. And then finally, what is there for the faculty members and what is there for the students. Now, when we talk of restructuring at the highest level, the policy talks about a single regulator. They are envisaging a body called Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, which we call HECI in short, Higher Education Commission of India, which will be a single regulator in the entire country rather than having multiple regulatory agencies. And the policy also recognizes that right now, like UGC, which is my parent office, UGC is the body which is doing funding as well as regulation. But nowhere in the world, regulation and funding both are done by the same organization. So they want to separate these functions. So therefore, there is a single regulator, HECI, and there will be 4 verticals of HECI, which will be doing 4 independent functions in an autonomous manner. One which will be National Higher Education Regulatory Council, which will do only regulation. Then there will be Higher Education Grant Council, which will do only funding. So regulation and funding are separated. There is National Accreditation Council, which will be a meta-accrediting agency. Like right now, we have NAAC for institutional accreditation. We have NBA for program-wise accreditation. This NAC will not do accreditation themselves. It will be a meta-accrediting agency, means it will accredit the future agencies who will do the accreditation, like NAAC and NBA will be one of them, but in future there will be many more, because in future accreditation will be the new normal which we talk about. Accreditation will be the new normal for regulating the higher education institution. And lastly, there will be a graduate education GEC, yes, Graduate Education Council, which will be looking after the academic issues like framing of curriculum, framing of learning outcome based education, framing of national higher education qualification framework. So these type of works will be done by the GEC. And apart from that, whatever professional standard setting bodies are there right now, I mean like AICT is there, MCI is there, DCI is there, Nursing Council is there, Bar Council is there. So instead of professional councils, they will become professional standard setting bodies. So this will be the change at the higher education structure level. Now, what will be the change in your universities, in your colleges? What type of changes, what type of restructuring will be there in the universities? So when we come to restructuring of universities, the policy says we don't want small universities. We do not want single faculty universities. We want that we should have big institutions, at least with 3,000 students. We don't want colleges also. We only want multi-faculty big universities which are having multiple disciplines and which are large, means at least 3,000 students are there. So for that, and then the universities can be of three types: research intensive university, teaching intensive university, or degree awarding colleges. So the universities have to decide whether they want to become research intensive or teaching intensive. So that will be depending upon the student profile in that university, teacher profile, the location where the university is located. So all this will decide that it will be a research intensive university or a teaching intensive university. But if there is a single faculty university right now, for example, there are law universities, medical universities, technological universities, agriculture universities. So the policy says there should not be a single faculty university, because in every university the student should be getting an opportunity to speak to learn many subjects at one time. I mean, he should not be constrained that I cannot be learning these subjects, or maybe only, for example, suppose there is an engineering student. Suppose civil engineering student is there and he is building a dam. So when he builds a dam, he needs the knowledge of the civil engineering, but he also has to have the knowledge of the environment, that what will be the impact of the dam on the environment. He also has to see that the people who are displaced because of the building of the dam, what happens to those people, how they will be rehabilitated, what will be the psychological or sociological impact of this dam. So all those things also he should be knowing. Therefore, if you teach only civil engineering, he will not be a holistic person and he will not be able to build a dam in a manner in which it should be, taking all aspects into consideration. Therefore, the policy says that every institution should be a multidisciplinary university where students can be studying anything. I mean, if I'm studying physics and my interest is also music or painting or Hindi or literature, whatever, I should be able to study. Therefore, every university has to be a multidisciplinary university. And along with it, it also says that these colleges right now, we are having something like 1,000 universities, to which about 45,000 colleges are affiliated colleges. Now, this affiliation system was brought in by the Britishers. So when the British came, they brought in the affiliation system into our country, because it was at that time existing in the UK also. But now the Britishers have gone back. When they went back in the UK, they have abolished the affiliation system. But in our country, we are still continuing with the affiliation system. So the policy says, do away with the affiliation system. Individual colleges should be made capable enough to run on their own and to award degrees on their own. So in a stage-wise manner, I mean, in one day you cannot be removing the affiliation system and give the degree awarding power to all the colleges. But eventually, for those who are from the colleges, you should be knowing that one day you will be having a degree awarding power. Maybe if you are a big college, maybe within 2 years. If you are a small college, maybe over a time of 15 years has been envisaged in the policy for complete abolition of affiliation system. So when the colleges have to award their own degrees, that means they have to devise their own curriculum. So a lot of innovation you can introduce, which right now you are dependent upon the university. You have to conduct your own examination and you have to give your own degree. So you can have a lot of brand building. Right now, whether you're a good college or a bad college, the degree is given by the university. So the name of the college does not even appear on the degree certificate. So if you want to make build a brand of your own, you can be doing that. You can be starting any course without any approval from anybody. You can teach anybody, teach anything you want, any subject, any curriculum, the way you want to teach, all that has to be decided by the college. So this type of flexibility has been given in the policy. Similarly, it is also said that all the universities will not be governed, means there will be least political interference in the governance of the universities, and all the universities will be having a board of governors, and that board of governors will decide the administrative issues of the university, including appointment of vice chancellor. Now, appointment of vice chancellor is considered to be highly political. So in this policy, it is mentioned that the political interference in the appointment of vice chancellor should not be there, and the board of governors should be appointing the vice chancellor also. So this type of provisions are given in this policy. And also because we want to increase the GER to 50%, right now it is 26%, the policy says that a lot of importance should be given to online programs, ODL programs. So the online, the type of things you were learning here for making MOOCs courses, that will help you a lot. So it says that in future, all the universities which are accredited as A-grade universities can run online programs. So till now, online program means online degree programs were not feasible. There were programs, there were online courses. So MOOCs is an online course. Course means it's not a complete program, it is a different course, means paper within a program. So now total online programs are covered. Now we come to restructuring of programs. I'm just touching every subject because I'm not here for a long time. So in 15-20 minutes, whatever I can speak, I am trying to touch every aspect of the policy. So when we come to restructuring of programs, in the restructuring of programs, the policy says that today, if somebody, say somebody is doing BSc or BCom or BA or MA, and if they want to leave the course in between due to any reason, girls could get married, there could be financial reason, there could be some health reasons, there could be transfer of some parents, there could be any reason. So what does the student get after first year or second year? Nothing. I mean, he doesn't get anything except for the mark sheet for first and second year. And after 10 years, if he has to continue again the graduation, he has to do from class 1 itself. But now the policy says that there will be possibility of multiple entry and multiple exit. That means if after first year, if you leave, you get a certificate. After second year, if you leave, you get a diploma. After 3 years, you get a degree, or there is a provision for a 4-year degree program. So when you leave in between and you get a certificate or a diploma, then with that diploma, if you want to rejoin education, you will straight away get admission in 3rd year, lateral entry. If you have a certificate, you will get straight away admission in the 2nd year. So there are dual benefits. One is that lateral entry will be possible after many years. And second, on the basis of this certificate and diploma, you will be able to secure job also, because you have some certification in your hand that yes, I have done this certificate or I have done this diploma. So this type of multiple entry and multiple exit is there in the program. It talks about liberal arts, like when in the past we used to talk of 64 Kala Sampoorna education, 64 Kalas. The 64 Kalas, people think that it was all colors were to do with say dance or music or painting and all those things, but it is not that way. 64 Kalas included science, it included philosophy, it included medicine, engineering, political science, sociology, all the subjects were included in those 64 Kalas. So the policy is talking about a liberal education in which 64 Kala Sampoorna education is imparted to our students so that they get a holistic development of the students is there. MPhil has of course been said that MPhil should not be, MPhil should be done away with, because MPhil is no longer a gate pass to say net exemption, and most of the people who do MPhil are really registering for PhD program. And then one important thing which the policy says is that the students should get experiential learning by doing. So learning by doing, I mean, at times what happens is what they learn in the classroom, more than that they learn when they really work in an office or in a factory, or when they work in a sort of a university or a college teaching, or whatever type of job they are wanting to do. So the policy says that everybody should learn through experience, for which every course, whether it is Hindi honors, English honors, mathematics honors, physics honors, or say pol science honors or economics honors, every student should be subjected to internships. So whatever vacations fall in between, whether summer vacation or winter vacation, in those vacations, the students should be subjected to internship so that they learn by doing. For example, BCom students can work in a bank, they can work in an insurance company. Similarly, other students, the university has to devise the ways in which the students can be learning by doing. So internship bank has to be made by all the university so that for every subject, a provision of internship is there. So experiential learning, learning by do. And one very, very important concept which has emerged in the national policy, which is very innovative, I think it is the most innovative concept of national education policy, that is ABC. That is, what is ABC? Academic Bank of Credit. Academic Bank of Credit, I don't know how many of you understand what is ABC. I'll try to explain in simple terms. ABC is like in a commercial bank, you deposit money. In ABC, you deposit credits, Academic Bank of Credit. So how do you deposit credits? Like right now, you take admission in a full program, like you take admission in a BA program, MA program, MSc, MCom, PhD, all these programs. But every program have, say, suppose BA has something like 20 papers in it. So these 20 papers are 20 courses. So in future, you will get admission into courses also, only courses, not a program, only courses. So if BA has 20 papers, you can take admission in different papers or different courses in different universities. So you can do 3 papers from JNU, 2 papers from Delhi University, 3 papers from Gujarat University, 2 from Gujarat Vidyapeeth, and from Saurashtra University. So like this, you can do papers from multiple universities. And then once you do a paper, paper is called as a course. So now, when you do these courses and you get a certificate that I have done this course from, say, JNU, and this was the grade and these were the credits. So you take the certificate to ABC, where you have opened your account, like you open an account for money, you open an account for the credits. So you go to the ABC, say that this is my certificate. So they will deposit the credits, like dematting of certificates, shares. Similarly, this is sort of a demat of credits. So they will keep on depositing your credits in the bank. And when you have obtained a threshold number of credits, for example, say normally for a graduation 120 credits are required. So if you have deposited 150 credits so far in your bank, so out of that you can select the 120 credits which are relevant for a particular degree program. So with those credits, you go to the university from where you have done the maximum number of credits, and you will say that redeem these 120 credits for a degree. So against those 120 credits, which are earned from multiple universities, the parent university or the university from where you have done the maximum number of courses, they will give you a degree. And then those many credits will be debited from your account. So initially you were having 50, now you will have only 30 credits in your account because 120 you have used for getting a degree. So this type of a concept is there, which is very, very innovative, because in this concept, the student is getting all types of freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of choosing a university, freedom of choosing a discipline, and also freedom of speed, the speed with which he wants to cover. So therefore, I normally say that this is a very, very student-centric policy in which the student has been treated like a king. The student is getting all types of freedom. He can do flexible studies at convenient hours. So that type of facility is there. Value-based education has been given a lot of importance. And then for the first time, internationalization has been given a lot of importance in this policy. It is said, like the bill for establishment and operation of foreign universities in India was pending for something like 10-15 years in the parliament. Now this policy says that 100 top foreign universities of the world can come and set up their campuses in India. So now see the ramification of these. So if 100 top universities come to India, what will happen? One, right now about 10 lakh students every year, last year about 10 lakh students went to foreign universities for studying, against which only 46,000 came to India. And these 10 lakh students, when they went to foreign countries, how much did they spend? $2 to $3 billion. So that was the foreign exchange which was going out of the country. So when these students get admission in those top foreign universities sitting in India, they will obviously, we will save on the foreign exchange, घर का पैसा घर में ही रहेगा. दूसरा, इन बच्चों का जो cost of education है, वो भी reduce होगा, because standard of living, cost of living in foreign countries is more, standard of living and cost of living in our country is less. So इनका पैसा बचेगा. Third, जो हमारी खुद की universities हैं, if they want to do any foreign collaboration, So they can do it very easily. They can call foreign professors to their campuses without spending much on travel. Time will be saved. They can do research collaboration. They can do semester exchange. They can do faculty exchange. They can do student exchange. So multiple type of collaborations will be possible when those universities are here. And also the people from the neighboring countries, like 46,000 which we get in India, are generally from Afghanistan, Nepal, Bangladesh. So these are the three, or Africa. So these are the four countries from where we get the students. So those students also go to USA and Europe. So those students will also come to our universities, not only for studying in our universities, but also for studying in these foreign universities. So much of benefits will be there. Plus, the policy also says that if you want to show Indian knowledge system, Indian knowledge, ancient knowledge system, Indian, say, sort of niche areas like yoga, Ayurveda, if you want to teach the world, our universities can go out and teach the world. So our universities have to identify that what are our niche areas where we can go out, so we can go out and study. So this is the second part of internationalization. Third is that so far the credits which were earned in the foreign universities, they were not counted in Indian universities. But now the policy says that foreign university credits can also be counted in the Indian university. So when I was talking about the ABC, so in ABC, the student can do courses not only from India, but also from abroad. The student can do courses not only in face-to-face mode, also in online mode. So all types of flexibilities are given to the student. That's why I say student is treated like a king in this policy. So that was the third. And fourth, very important, which is from practical point of view, that what happens right now is that the students who are studying in India, they don't become our brand ambassadors, because many of our universities are not having an international office to look after the student. So in this policy, it says that if you are having an international student in your university, you must have an international office, because through that international office, you can take care of the student so that they get, whether any type of problem they face, it could be academic problem, it could be space problem, it could be adjustment problem because cultural variation is there, it could be language problem, any type of issue which a student is facing, that has to be addressed in a very, very professional manner, for which an international students office is required. So the policy says you must have an international students office in every university if you are hosting the foreign students, so that they can be because they can become our brand ambassadors. So at AIU also, what we are trying to do is that right now there is no network of international educators in India. So even if our universities or colleges want to do internationalization, they don't know how to go about it. We किस foreign university से collaborate करें, who will answer to them, which foreign professor to call. So they want to do internationalization, but they don't know how to go about it. So we are making a network in which good universities who are into internationalization in a big way, and the universities who are wanting to do but are not able to do, both will be members, and there will be a lot of sharing of experiences, and our all universities will be able to enter into internationalization. So that type of a thing we are doing. And for faculty, what is there? For all of you, what is there in the policy? It's again, the faculty has been given the कहते हैं ना गुरु का दर्जा, and a very big respect has been given to the faculty in the policy. It says what you want to teach, of course, within the broad framework of curriculum which is designed by the GEC, but there can be regional variation which you can do. So what to teach, how to teach, and how to assess the children, all has been left to the teacher. The teacher is given the full freedom on all the three aspects: what to teach, how to teach, and how to assess and evaluate the student. There is no need to teach in the traditional way, like इंडिया में हम ऐसा पढ़ाते हैं ना कि क्लास में पढ़ाते हैं, बच्चे घर पे जाके मनन करते हैं, पर बाहर के देशों में बच्चे घर से पढ़ के आते हैं, क्लास में मनन करते हैं कैसे, कि जो भी रीडिंग मटेरियल है, वेदर इट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ द टेक्स्ट और ऑडियोज और वीडियोस, या वीडियोस अगर आपके नहीं है तो यू नो अबाउट द लिंक्स ऑफ द वीडियोस, उनको लिंक्स दिए जाते हैं, बच्चे घर से उन वीडियोस को देख के आते हैं, ऑडियो को सुन के आते हैं, क्लास में सिर्फ डिस्कशन होता है। तो उससे क्या होता है कि अंडरस्टैंडिंग बेटर होती है, रैशनल डेवलप होता है, एप्लीकेशन ओरिएंटेड स्टडीज होती हैं, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग टेक्निक्स आती हैं, क्रिएटिविटी आता है, क्यूरियोसिटी आता है। तो ऑल दिस इज रिकमेंडेड इन द पॉलिसी कि पढ़ाने का तरीका ऐसा होना चाहिए कि बच्चे की क्यूरियोसिटी अराउज हो, बच्चे में क्रिएटिविटी हो, बच्चे को प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग आए, बच्चे को एप्लीकेशन ओरिएंटेड स्टडीज हो, वो तभी आएगा जब हम जो विदेशों वाली नीति जो मैं बताई थी, जिसको बोलते हैं फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम मॉडल। फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम मॉडल वाला बिल्कुल उल्टा कर दिया, एक तरह से फ्लिप कर दिया उसको, कि आप बच्चे घर से पढ़ के आएंगे, क्लास में आके मनन करेंगे। तो ये बड़े आसानी से आप अपना सकते हैं अपने बच्चों के लिए, एंड यू विल सी कि किस तरह से आप एक तरह से रेवोल्यूशन लाएंगे टीचिंग स्पेस में, इफ यू टीच इन दिस मैनर एंड विद द OER एंड ऑनलाइन और टेक्नोलॉजी का इंटीग्रेशन जो आपने इस FDP में सीखा है, दैट ऑल विल हेल्प यू in switching to flipped classroom model. And also assessment and evaluation, जरूरी नहीं है कि सेमेस्टर के एंड में जो 3 घंटे का एग्जामिनेशन है वो ही बेस्ट वे ऑफ असेसमेंट है, रादर दैट इज द वर्स्ट वे ऑफ असेसमेंट। कहीं पे ऐसा असेसमेंट नहीं होता कि उस 3 घंटे में आप बच्चे के पूरे साल की या पूरे सेमेस्टर की इवेल्युएट कर लेते हैं कि वो बच्चे ने कैसा पढ़ा या कैसा परफॉर्म किया। तो पॉलिसी में कहा है कि कंटिन्यूस असेसमेंट करो, पूरे सेमेस्टर में करो, क्विजेज हैं, असाइनमेंट्स हैं, प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, एक्टिविटीज हैं, ग्रुप डिस्कशंस हैं, फेस टू फेस इंटरव्यूज हैं, एक्टिविटीज, मतलब hundreds of ways of assessing the student rather than choosing the worst way of assessing just by 3-hour examination. तो आपके पास टीचर्स के पास ये पावर है, so now an empowered lot. Teachers are an empowered lot who can decide what to teach, how to teach, and how to assess and evaluate the student. And also कई बार आपका ऐसा सबका लगा रहता है ना कि वो तो पढ़ाता नहीं है, उसको भी तभी प्रमोशन मिलता है जिसमें मुझे मिलता है, वो कुछ नहीं कर रहा, मैं कर रहा हूँ, पर सब सेम टाइम पे प्रमोशन मिलता है। तो उस इशू को भी एड्रेस किया है पॉलिसी में। उसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि फास्ट ट्रैक प्रमोशन टू द टीचर्स हु आर रियली वर्किंग। तो अगर आप अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं तो पॉलिसी में प्रोविजन है कि आपको फास्ट ट्रैक प्रमोशन दी जा सके और आपको रिवार्ड्स एंड इंसेंटिव किसी तरीके से दिए जा सके जिससे कि आपकी मेरिट, आपकी मेहनत, ये सब रिवॉर्ड हो सके, उसको रिकग्निशन मिल सके। प्लस अगर किसी यूनिवर्सिटी में ऐसे प्रोफेसर्स हैं जिनमें वाइस चांसलर को लगता है कि एकेडमिक के साथ साथ एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्यूमेन है, जिनमें लीडरशिप स्किल्स हैं, तो पॉलिसी कहती है कि उन टीचर्स को आइडेंटिफाई करके उनको स्पेशल लीडरशिप ट्रेनिंग दी जाए जिससे कि इन फ्यूचर दे बिकम गुड वाइस चांसलर्स। तो ऐसा नहीं कि बिना ट्रेनिंग के वाइस चांसलर बनाओ, वाइस चांसलर बनाने के लिए भी ऐसे टीचर्स को सॉर्ट ऑफ कैच देम यंग और फिर उसके बाद उनको ट्रेनिंग दिया जाए जिससे कि दे बिकम बेटर वाइस चांसलर। सो दीज टाइप ऑफ फैसिलिटीज आर have been given in the policy for the teachers. Research के लिए of course there is National Research Foundation which is envisaged कि National Research Foundation होगा जिसमें teachers को projects मिलेंगे, of course बड़े मिलेंगे, but then they will be funding the research in multiple manners, but it will be coordinated by National Research Foundation. And lastly students, I have been talking about the students कि students तो इस policy में मतलब सेंटर ही वो है, स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक पॉलिसी है, बिकॉज वी ऑल एग्जिस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स। अगर हम नहीं हो तो ना यूनिवर्सिटी, स्टूडेंट्स नहीं होंगे तो ना यूनिवर्सिटीज होंगी, ना कॉलेजेस होंगी, ना मैं होंगी, ना टीचर्स रहेंगे। तो इसलिए स्टूडेंट्स आर द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेक होल्डर्स। इसीलिए इस पॉलिसी में स्टूडेंट्स को ये कहा गया है कि स्टूडेंट्स को पूरी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी दी है कि आप किसी भी तरीके से पढ़ना चाहे पढ़िए। और अब स्टूडेंट्स के पास इतनी, मतलब मुझे ये लगता है कि आज के डेट पे स्टूडेंट्स के पास जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं वो शायद जिंदगी में कभी भी नहीं थी। मैं बच्चों को मजाक में बोलती थी अगर आपका IIT में एडमिशन नहीं हुआ तो चिंता की बात नहीं है, IIT के प्रोफेसर आपके घर पे आएंगे आपको पढ़ाने के लिए, आपके कन्वीनियंट टाइम पे। कैसे? बिकॉज NPTEL ने सारे IIT के प्रोफेसर्स के लेक्चर्स कंप्यूटर पे हैं, तो आपके लैपटॉप पे IIT के प्रोफेसर आपको पढ़ाने आएंगे आपके घर पे। फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी के प्रोफेसर आपको पढ़ाने आएंगे आपके घर पे, बिकॉज इतने सारा OER ओपन एजुकेशन रिसोर्स नेट पे है। अगर अब बच्चा नहीं पढ़ा तो मतलब उसको पढ़ने की लगन नहीं है। और ये सब कुछ फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट, बिल्कुल। क्या चाहिए आपको? सिर्फ एक डिवाइस चाहिए और एक कनेक्शन चाहिए और एक लगन चाहिए पढ़ने के लिए। तो अगर बच्चे के पास ये तीनों चीजें हैं तो उसको पढ़ने से, आगे बढ़ने से कोई नहीं रोक सकता। एंड ऑल्सो if students are there, if you talk to your students, please tell your students कि आने वाले समय में jobs and degrees will be de-linked. जॉब्स जो मिलेंगे डिग्रीज के बेसिस पे नहीं मिलेंगे, आपके नॉलेज के बेसिस पे मिलेगा। तो इफ यू हैव गुड नॉलेज व्हिच कैन बी एक्वायर्ड थ्रू मल्टीपल सोर्सेज, देन ओनली यू विल बी फर्स्ट गेटिंग ए जॉब एंड देन सर्वाइविंग द जॉब। क्योंकि एक बारी, अब ऐसा भी नहीं है कि एक बारी जो सीख लिया, क्योंकि इतनी जल्दी टेक्नोलॉजी बदल रही है कि आपको हमेशा अपडेटेड रहना ही पड़ेगा। तो वेदर इट इज टीचर्स और द स्टूडेंट्स, एवरीबडी हैज टू रिमेन अपडेटेड, दे हैव टू रिमेन ऑन देयर टोज। So all the teachers who are present here, you must be knowing about the ARPIT scheme of UGC in which the teacher training is there. But leave ARPIT. I mean, ARPIT you can keep on doing. But apart from ARPIT, there are hundreds of courses on net. आप edX देखिए, Coursera देखिए, स्वयं देखिए, Udemy देखिए, Udacity देखिए, Khan Academy देखिए. There are so many platforms और वहाँ इतने कोर्सेज हैं एंड इतने इंटरेस्टिंग कोर्सेज हैं कि इफ़ यू स्टार्ट डूइंग इट तो आपको लगता है कि मैं और कर लूँ और सर्टिफिकेशन भी मिलता है. तो इसलिए प्लीज कीप ऑन लर्निंग एंड बिकॉज व्हेन यू कीप ऑन लर्निंग देन योर स्टूडेंट्स विल कीप ऑन लर्निंग. यू कैन ऑलवेज कोट योरसेल्फ एज अ रोल मॉडल कि जब मैं सीख सकती हूँ तो आप क्यों नहीं सीख सकते, जब मैं ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज कर सकती हूँ तो आप क्यों नहीं कर सकते. तो मुझे लगता है कि पॉलिसी इज अ वेरी गुड पॉलिसी बट द की लाइज इन द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, क्योंकि इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और अगर हमने तन मन धन से इसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया, और हर एक सरकार को इसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं करना है, इम्प्लीमेंट करना है यूनिवर्सिटीज को, इम्प्लीमेंट करना है वाइस चांसलर्स को, इम्प्लीमेंट करना है टीचर्स को. सरकार को तो 2-3 बड़े बड़े काम है, वो हैकी बनाना है, ये पैसा देना है, बस उतना ही है. बाकी सब तो यूनिवर्सिटीज को इम्प्लीमेंट करना है. तो अगर इसको यूनिवर्सिटीज ने इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया ना, तो हम ये पॉलिसी, हम इतनी अच्छी पॉलिसी, इतनी इनोवेटिव पॉलिसी अलमारियों में बंद रहेगी, लाइब्रेरी की शोभा बढ़ाएगी, पर इससे कोई फायदा नहीं होगा. इसलिए इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इज द की. तो वी ऑल हैव टू प्लेज दैट यस वी विल इम्प्लीमेंट इट. तन मन धन से इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे, जिससे कि इस पॉलिसी में सचमुच में इस तरह का रिकमेंडेशंस हैं कि वो इंडिया को ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकती है. इंडिया एक तरफ से हमारा पूरा हायर एजुकेशन सिस्टम ट्रांसफॉर्म हो सकता है. इंडिया फिर से विश्व गुरु बन सकता है. नालंदा के टाइम पे हमारे पास 10,000 बच्चे आते थे जब पॉपुलेशन कितनी थी आप जानते हैं, और आज देखिए 130 करोड़ देश में 46,000 बच्चे आ रहे हैं. तो जब नालंदा के टाइम पे हम विश्व गुरु थे, पूरे दुनिया से बच्चे आते, तो आज क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं हमारे पास? क्योंकि हमारी क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन वैसी नहीं है जैसी होनी चाहिए. तो क्वालिटी इम्प्रूव तभी होगी अगर इस पॉलिसी को अच्छी तरह से हम इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे, क्योंकि प्रोविजंस बहुत सारे हैं और उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना ज़रूरी है. तो ऑल द वाइस चांसलर्स एंड हेड्स ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशन, मेरी अपील उनको यही है कि प्लीज इम्प्लीमेंट द पॉलिसी एंड 70% ऑफ द इम्प्लीमेंट रिकमेंडेशंस आर टू बी इम्प्लीमेंटेड बाय द यूनिवर्सिटी. 70%. सिर्फ 30% ऐसी हैं जो सरकारों को, चाहे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को अपनानी है. 70% यूनिवर्सिटीज़ को अपनानी है. तो प्लीज डू इट एंड यू विल बी द विनर. So with this, I'll once again thank Jayendra Singh ji and Gujarat Knowledge Consortium for inviting me here, and all the best to all the faculty members for doing wonderfully well in their future life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to request Professor A.U. Patel sir to give vote of thanks to all the participants and our today's chief guest Pankaj Mittal ma'am.
Thank you very much, madam. Mittal madam explained very nicely the actual impact and how to process further. Policy is very clear, given before 2 months. We have also tried our best to set a roadmap for implementation plan. Gujarat government has appointed 4 committees, subcommittees for restructuring of university system and governance, restructuring of colleges and affiliation system, strategy and restructuring of courses, curriculum, pedagogy and examination, performance outcome, deliverables. Government also appointed past vice chancellors, existing vice chancellors, and also some members from IIT and IIM. We are working very hard to finalize how to implement the entire plan. It will take much time, madam. Entire policy is extraordinary because first time in India we recognized our basic weaknesses and laid down what to do with the competition of best universities of the world. But we have to change our mindset because mindset is already set since last 50 years, and we are working with a large number of students. We have to change the ways and means of our working, our attitude, our aptitude, and also interest of the students.
I'm just now studying education system of Japan, USA, England, and many other countries. I found that in UK, after primary and secondary education, higher education does not start immediately. Students take some courses, as we have laid down in multidisciplinary courses. They acquire certain skills, and if they require higher education, they go for higher education. But when they take higher education, they have options to earn. They are not burdensome on parents because they have already some skills. And I found that the vocationalization of education is very important in the entire policy. So our students will get self-sufficiency as far as economic matter is concerned. Moreover, our Prime Minister already announced that 5 trillion economy will be there by 2030 or 25. But for that we require a very extraordinary educational labor force, working force, administrators and leaders. This policy explains very nicely that how we can achieve this. So you have covered, I'm hearing all these things since last 3 months. We have organized all meetings for information and collection of ideas from various groups and people. But you have explained very nicely above all the points and how to implement. I congratulate Jayendra for organizing all webinar programs about accountancy, etc. We have large number of webinars. We have collected data during pandemic. Nearly 70,000, 80,000 students are taking part in webinar. Universities also organized, colleges also organized, and on teaching, PG on teaching is going on since last 2 months. So Gujarat is very aggressive as far as online education is concerned, as far as NEP is concerned, and about the implementation plans. Gujarat government have also appointed last time a committee to improve universities. And we have submitted, I was member of that committee, and we have submitted 23 reforms which are included in new education policy also to improve higher education in Gujarat. Again, I congratulate all faculty members, principals, those who are taking interest since 9 days, and they become very active as far as education is concerned, teaching is concerned. We have already started Udayam program, madam. In this program, we will develop such a social media and also technology where we can concentrate all online education and data collection, information, total digitalization of the entire education system. We are also thinking to start research consortium where we will allow all universities to use common resources and common talented people. They will come together. They will prepare a common platform for research which will be useful to society also. So Gujarat is doing well. Modi Sahib already started all these 6 sectoral universities. We have 86 universities, 350 grant-in-aid colleges, and 109 government colleges. And also we are planning to start college or university within 5 years in every district. So I assure you that Gujarat government is very serious about the implementation plan and uh, utilize all resources available from the central and state government. We are also increasing our budget for education. We have started appointment processes to complete all vacant jobs in teaching faculty, also in administration, etc. So thank you very much to all, and particularly Madam, that you have spent a lot of time and guide us. Thank you very much.
Now, yeah, Madam, we are very much thankful to you that you have spared your valuable time for us. Friends, आप जानते हैं कि AIU में कितना सारा पूरे देश भर का काम होता है और नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में मैडम का कीन रोल यहाँ पे रहा है और वो मंत्रालय के साथ बहुत अच्छे से काम कर रहे हैं, मैं जानता हूँ। तो फिर भी उन्होंने अपने लिए समय दिया। मैडम, मैं आपको वंदन करता हूँ, प्रणाम करता हूँ और आपका बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि आपने हमारे फैकल्टी मेंबर्स को समय दिया और बहुत इजी वे में, राइट, आपने सभी चीजों को समझाया, वेदर इट इज इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन, वेदर इट इज रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग, सभी चीजों को ऑल एस्पेक्ट्स कवर करके आपने गागर में सागर समाहित करके बहुत अच्छे से आपने नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को समाहित किया। इसलिए आई एम वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू यू।
हमारे अंजू शर्मा मैडम जो प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी है, शी इज वेरी एक्टिव। उनके ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ हर ऑल्सो I congratulate and I express my sincere thanks for addressing us. On behalf of the Department of Education also, thank you very much.
Thank you. I know Dr. Anju Sharma, she is really doing good work.
Yes.
So please pay my regards to her.
Thank you.
Thank you. I extend my thanks to AU Patel sir also, who is a driving force behind all the activities of Knowledge Consortium, and he is always motivating us and guiding us right, in all the programs. Thank you very much, sir, on behalf of all the participants. Now, especially, I am very much thankful to all the participants as well, without whom this program was not success and this program was not possible. Right? They have taken a keen interest in all the lectures. They have made it interesting as well as interactive. Right? Without your support, it won't be possible. Thank you very much to all. Related to the certificate and assignment, Jaimini Ben, we have 2 instructions, I think. Right? Certificates, जिनके असाइनमेंट हो चुके हैं उनको सर्टिफिकेट्स उनके मेल पर दिए जाएंगे। असाइनमेंट के लिए और 4-5 दिन आपको दिए गए हैं। आपको एक सूचना मिलेगी, उस सूचना में लिखित सूचना होगी, रिटन इंस्ट्रक्शन, उसमें सभी चीजें आ जाएगी। तो यहाँ पे टीम्स में भी वो सूचना रखेंगे और मेल पे भी आपको मिलेगी। राइट जेमिनी भाई?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we conclude here and we make a, this is not a full stop, this is a comma. Madam, we will invite you again, right? And it is to hear again and again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
Before ending this program, I would like to thank Dr. Jayendra C. Jadhav, sir, for your constant coordination and support to our KCG team in this faculty development program.
And we have a big hands for Jaimini Ben also for entire technical team of KCG, right?
Thank you.
On behalf of all the participants, right? I wish you all the best, and you have coordinated in a well manner, I can
Pleasure
say.
is all mine, sir. Thank you. I would like to thank Professor A.U. Patel, sir, as Jayendra sir has already told that he is a mentor to all of us, especially the employees of KCG. Thank you so much, sir. I am also thankful to Dr. P.R. Patel, sir, who is an OSD at KCG, and thank you to all the participants. Okay. With this, I am ending the program.